Hey up me ducks, how is everybody today? Simon here. I'm delighted to be back. I know it's only been about, I think 5-6 weeks since the last couple of catch up and cards, but it's at least 6 months since I was able to do a catching up with. So yeah, and I'm really excited for today. So if you haven't been in the tarot sphere for the last 7 days, you may have missed this person, because the person I'm going to be having a catch up with over a cuppa today is Ben from Beneficial Tarot, who started their channel 1 week today. And I think this is a Hermit's Cave first, where I've interviewed somebody who has literally just started a channel. But what a start, you know, already 4 videos out, amazing content, lovely person, great editing skills. I might have to get some tips myself, but without further ado, let's welcome Ben from Beneficial Tarot. Hi Ben.
Hi everyone.
So
good
how
to
are
see
you?
you.
Welcome to your first ever live.
I know, God, I would never have guessed my first live would. Well, I'm so glad it's with you, Simon. It's brilliant.
Well, that's really nice of you to say. We'll just do a quick few hellos, and I know that Ben has access to the chat as well. So welcome to everybody who's coming in. We've got Patrice, we've got Govinda. Hello, Govinda. Caroline, Joanne, our L, and we have Scott. Hello, Scott. Tycon, Shauna, Nancy, Jackie Jacaranda, how are you doing? Jen's here as well, and we've got, let's see, D's with us today, and Stephanie. Hello Stephanie, nice to see you. Richard, hello Richard, nice to see you. And that's, oh, Richard's cheating. He's in his class, he's in his Lenormand class, but he's also kind of popping in to say hello, so really appreciate that. And Jenna is here from Jennifer Ball's Witch House. Nice to see Jenna.
Hi Jenna.
I know it's really early where you are, my love. We've also got Leslie and Lisa and Emma. So yeah, welcome to everyone.
Hey everyone.
So, wow, what a week you've had.
I know.
We was just chatting, weren't we, just before
Where?
we went live. And Ben was saying, I can't believe that it was actually this time last week that you decided to hit that record button. Do you want to start us off just by telling us, firstly, how you even discovered that there was an online tarot community?
Well, it was kind of by accident, really, I suppose, because I think it must have been about last year. And I got to a point where I thought, I just bought the Angel Oracle cards, and I thought, oh, I wonder like what other cards are out there. So I stumbled onto YouTube, and then that's where I found your channel, and that was it. I was hooked. I never guessed that there were so many tarot decks out there. It's like, oh my, I was a bit overwhelmed. But so that's how I stumbled upon it, and then after that, I really wanted to connect with the people. Just because everybody's story seemed very similar to my own. You know, I feel like a lot of people that spoke about their stories had kind of gone through something in their life, and they got to a point where, you know, they perhaps felt quite lonely or they didn't fit in. Whereas everybody in the tarot community seemed to have that similar story. And it's like, we've all come together kind of thing. And they're just lovely people, aren't they? Yeah.
They really are. And it's really nice when new people come into the community and they share that experience, because I mean, I only had to watch like your tarot shelf video to realise we've got so many similar tastes and things, and like when you whipped out the psychic circle, I was like, oh my god, I didn't know anyone else that had got this. But even then, just sharing that mirrored my experience. You know, I bought a deck of cards that was in, or wanted to buy a deck of cards that was in Waterstones that were sealed, so I ended up Googling them, which brought me to a YouTube video which led me into finding, you know, a whole community of people
Well,
talking of
it's
tarot.
like in indie decks, isn't it? Like, you know, I thought about that. I thought, I can't believe there's so many different decks out there that aren't even on like the mass market shops and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
exactly. And just not even, you know, indie decks, but you know now, and it's even 4 or 5 years on for me now. You know, you only have to kind of think of a genre, or perhaps a film, or some sort of pop culture, and there's a tarot
Yeah.
deck for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Everything.
who knew?
Well, I'm looking out for this 80s tarot deck, Simon, because you know I'm a fan of the 80s.
I do.
They need a
Yeah.
dynasty one.
Oh, could you imagine a
Oh,
dynasty?
God. On there.
Who would Alexis be? Now, would she be the high priestess or would she be the devil?
Oh, she'd be the devil.
Oh, yeah, she'd have to be, wouldn't she? Well, I shared, was it in, I've been to 3 lives today, so I can't remember if it was Kelly Bear or Scott's, but I think it was Scott's live, and we was talking about the 80s deck. Was it Scott's earlier? Yeah.
Yes.
And James and Christine, who are from Tarot Collectibles, they're the ones who do very close. They do kind of the 70s vibes, early 80s disco with groovy weight and tripping weight. And I said to them, would you consider doing an 80s deck? And they floated the idea and put some pictures out there, but it didn't feel that the time was right, so they've kind of shelved that project. I'm thinking if we give a little bit of a nudge.
We need to give a bit of a plug, don't we?
So if people want to see an 80s tarot deck as much as me and Ben do, then let's give James.
There's a lot of 80s lovers out there, though, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of had a resurgence again, hasn't it? And this
Yeah.
tends to happen like every 10 years or so. I can remember I went to see Toya Wilcox.
Oh, have you seen her channel?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
and I
gosh,
follow
she's
her on
amazing.
YouTube. On Facebook, I follow her on there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toya was kind of like my first sort of intro into music. But and there was a whole. She was going on tour with lots of other 80s bands because there was a kind of resurgence in 80s music, and I think it's kind of happening again at the moment.
Yeah.
People are, especially with the channels that we're getting now, they're kind of showing all the old classics again, aren't they?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. It is coming back, and I love it. I do. It's one of, along with tarot, I love anything 80s. I just haven't got the hair, Simon, or the shoulder pads. That's the thing.
Tell me about it. People used to say when I was a teenager I looked like Andrew Ridgeley. I look more like Alexis Sale now, I think, but never mind. That's not the one I wanted. I want this one, just to let everybody know, if you are coming in, I'm chatting with Ben from Ben Official Tarot. Ben's had his channel a week. Do check him out. The link to Ben's channel is in the description below, so do click on that and give Ben a sub, and let's show him the love that we give to everybody that comes into the community. And also, I've got some questions that I'm going to be putting to Ben, but you know, it's interactive when we do catching up with. So if you've got a cuppa, sit back and enjoy. But also, if you've got any questions you want me to put to Ben, then either, because I've got my iPad at the side of me, like Stephanie's done, it will show in orange. If you type out my channel name exactly as it is, you have to remember the apostrophe, or put it in caps, and I'll be sure to add your question in so that Ben can answer them. So Stephanie says, when I tell non-tarot people about tarot, I tell them how many different decks there are out there. You like Star Wars? There's a deck for you. Dogs? Check. Bunnies? Check. And it's true, isn't it? I've got a bunny tarot. And a dog tarot.
Anything you want with tarot, isn't it? Anything goes.
Definitely. So, let's start off then. I know you just talked about your kind of how you discovered YouTube, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a bit about, you know, how you became interested in tarot or divination. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, it all started when I was about 6 years old, and my mum took me to the video shop and she said, grab a film. So I went straight to the horror.
As you do at 6.
As you do. And I think the video guy was absolutely horrified when I picked out the Amityville Horror. but I loved anything that was like scary or otherworldly, like haunted house stories and stuff like that. But the first time I got in touch with, heard about tarot, was my brother said to me, because I've got two older brothers and they like to scare me at that age. And they said, "Oh, have you heard about tarot cards? If you turn it over the death card, you die. Or if you turn over the devil, something bad's going to happen." Yeah. Well, when you're 6 years old, you kind of believe that.
Of course.
So I was like, "Oh God." But it didn't stop me being really interested in it. And then fast forward about 10 years later, me and my friend were at her grandmother's house and we were looking through her cupboard. Not that you fit through people's cupboards. I don't know what we were doing, but we're having a little gander in the cupboard. And she pulled out a spell book and a pack. So I was more interested in the spell book. I was like, I never knew your grand was a witch or something like that. And she pulled out the tarot cards and she started using them. And at that point, I wasn't that interested. But the next day, me and my cousin came to see me and she said, "I've had a reading with your friend." She says, "Why don't you have a reading yourself?" And that's really when I got introduced to it, because my friend kind of explained about what the cards meant, and that the devil doesn't mean something bad's going to happen to you. Death doesn't mean you're going to die. And that. They're positive. There's positive meanings in them, isn't there? And then after that, we just used to read each other's cards like night after night. And we kind of learnt together. In the early days, we used to like read off a book. But then we said to each other, well, let's just do it intuitively and see what the cards mean to us. And we picked so much more up from it. And that was it, really. That shot me off into the tarot stratosphere when I was 14 then.
Can you remember what deck it was? The one that you found in your friend's grandmother's?
Yes. And I haven't got it. It's this Swiss one. The SS. With the Swiss.
Oh, this one? 1JJ Swiss?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That was the one. It was in a yellow box.
Yes, with like a biggish box.
That's right. That was the first one. And then she went to a shop and bought the Renaissance Tarot and a little bit bigger cards. And then I bought the Rider-Waite one, which was better because I think the one she bought had more pips in. And Simon, I can't read pips for toffee. It's just, I've got a lot to learn. Although I've kind of like known tarot for a long time, I've only really just got back into it and started really learning what the cards mean.
Yeah. Do you know what? What I would say as well is don't beat yourself up about that. I couldn't read my first ever deck was this deck, which was the 1JJ Swiss back in 1987, and I just used to put the pips to one side and just work with the majors because they just looked like pretty patterns to me back then. And even when I joined the community, I was all about RWS. And I can remember every March, there was a thing on Instagram called March of the Pips, and people used to show pip decks. And I thought, I'm going to get a pip deck and just have a go. And even then, it took a long while. And, it's not my system of choice. But I don't know if you saw the video I did yesterday where I talked about just like a numerological association for each number, so 1 being the beginning, 2 being balance. And I think even if you start as basic as that with a sheet of paper with 1 to 10, and then from your understanding of RWS that cups means emotions, it's the water suit.
It's funny, Simon, as I've just been talking to Govinda actually earlier about it, that numbers, numerology and all that kind of thing, and there's so much to it, isn't there? And like the 5s in the tarot court cards are all quite, not negative, but quite similar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just to say, a couple of people are saying that there's an echo, and I think that might be because of the headphones, but we put the headphones in because there was a bit of a buzzing noise. So I don't know if you want to try just without the headphones, just for a few minutes, because they're saying there's an echo when you're speaking. So we'll give it a go. Because it might be just me that hear the buzz. So is that better for people in the chat? Because when we tried it before we went live, there was
I
like
thought someone was ringing.
yeah, like a telephone ringing, wasn't it? So I'll just have a look, see what comes up in the chat, and then we'll proceed. And now it's gone radio silence from everybody. No, it's worse. So you need your
Oh,
headphones in.
right.
Just
There we go. I think it's my end, Simon, to be honest.
yeah, don't worry. Perhaps on your microphone, it's on your headphones.
Yeah.
Have you got like a volume down? Maybe try that.
Sorry,
If there's
say
like
that
a
again,
little volume
Simon.
down, that might do it.
Yeah, bear with. That better?
I mean, it was fine for me. It's people in the chat that's saying there's an echo. I can hear you crystal clear with your headphones in, so there's no issue. But where you've got your little microphone bit on the wire, just under your chin. Yeah.
Oh, here, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, if you press that down a bit.
It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to anyone. It's going to happen to me.
Okay, so we're just going to have to go with that anyway, because people have said that this is better. So, all right. So, so you've talked a little bit about your past and how you found tarot, the journey that you've been on, how you found the YouTube community, and then, as we know, because we said right from the beginning, last week is when you started your channel. What was it that made you hit the record button? How did you get to that point?
Do you know what it was? It was because I just wanted to connect with people, because I've kind of lived a bit of a hermit lifestyle. And we just go to work, come home, and I used to go clubbing a lot when I was in my early 20s and stuff like that, but then I stopped that, and then I just kind of like lived a bit of a hermit life, I suppose. And I wanted to connect back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find a community that felt right for me. And it's like the bluebird. I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Bluebird, where they look for a bluebird and it's in the back garden all the way, all the time, and they're looking for it. But it's like that. It's always been there, tarot has. I've just never thought to even look for a tarot community. And of course, when I stumbled on it last year, it was like, it resonated with me. And I think that's what it is. Because I think throughout life, sometimes you can go through and feel like a bit of a loner, that people don't understand your interests. I mean, in my family, I'm the only one that's into tarot cards. So it's kind of, not that my family are against it or anything like that, but they're not very spiritual like I am.
Right.
And it's kind of like finding people like-minded, isn't it? And I think that's what I found here.
Yeah, and that's lovely, and I could completely understand that. I really love that when you said that tarot had always been part of your life, but you didn't realise there's a community that goes on with it, and we don't, do we? And I think it's because the advent of technology, because when we've looked for spiritual communities before, we've looked for them within the physical community, haven't we? Either some people go to church, or people will find, meditation centres or something like that. And that's where I'd always gone to try and, I always had that sort of, that mind that questions, and that mind that's always trying to find something to give life meaning, on a deeper level. And I was amazed. And then if somebody had said to me 10 years ago, well, you'll find your spiritual community online, I'd have been like, online?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Like,
what?
But you, and I get it, because, you can, and it doesn't matter whether you go live to do it, you pre-record videos, or you contribute through comments. Do
you know what though, Simon? As well, for me, it was about feeling like whether people would accept me for who I was. And I think I've only just got to a point in my life where I'm comfortable with who I am. And I thought, if people don't like me, then that's fine. But I think I felt so much love from this community. It's just been absolutely amazing. It's so nice to put yourself out there, because you are vulnerable when you start YouTube. You don't know how you're going to succeed. And I've made such good friends already, and it's just lovely.
Yeah.
Really warms your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and that's really nice that you've had that experience. I mean, there will be times, where you'll get a thumbs down or you'll get a
Yeah.
horrible comment, and we just have to accept that with everything, there's a flip side. But
Yeah.
what I found with this community is the positives far outweigh, the
100%.
odd random troll comment.
I mean, my life has changed in 1 week. It's just been absolutely amazing. And I love making a film. I didn't think I'd enjoy making the videos because the main reason for me to do YouTube was really to connect. And to me, at the time, when I started, the videos were second. Oh my God, I love doing the videos now.
Do you? And you're
I
really
do.
good at them. Really
Oh,
good.
thank you.
I mean, I was in a live yesterday and somebody said, "Oh, Ben's put a new video out." So I thought, "Oh, I'll watch it as soon as it ends." And it's like the best intro ever. That was that Friday feeling. The weekend's here.
I was in the mood for it yesterday with Friday. I was like, I'd had a long week at work and I was like, I'm grooving.
So you said about kind of not fitting in and now finding a community. What's the environment like where you are? I know you're kind of West Midlands way, aren't you? I'm
Yes.
East Midlands. You're West
Yeah.
Midlands.
Yeah.
Is there much of a community there? Do you have like any sort of spiritual shops or
Nothing at all,
nothing
really.
at all?
I mean, like, you've got your cities. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a spiritual shop in Birmingham, apart from like Waterstones. That's the only place I ever used to go. If I wanted a tarot deck, I used to go to Waterstones, going online. But no, there's not a spiritual community, and that's the thing, because it's really hard to find somewhere that's like, if it's so far away, it's too long distance. There's not much around here, so it's really difficult.
Yeah. There's one shop in Birmingham called Zen. I don't know how often you go to Birmingham, but
No, I
if you
don't-
come
yeah.
out of the Bullring, where the kind of market is on one side, there's a big church, isn't there? And you just go
Yeah.
down that road. It's like a main road that goes away. It's on
Yeah.
the left hand side there.
There used to be some in Wolverhampton, I think, as well, actually. But I think they've closed some a lot down there now. But yeah, there's not much of a community like that. I don't know anybody else where I live that's into tarot.
Oh wow.
So yeah, but I was amazed, Simon, when you said that you were one of there's only a few of us, isn't there? The men in the community that are in Britain.
Yeah, and that was something else that was really exciting because there's over the years when I first started making videos, I knew of 2 other males in the world, making videos. So, and I think that's why my channel did really well initially, because it was like, oh, it's a man, oh, and it's a British man,
Yeah.
and all people commented on was my accent. There's like, oh,
Me
your
too.
accent, yeah. And then, in the last year, I mean, we've had people like Brian Cormac Carr and Stephen from On the Sound of an Ocean Wave. And then in the last year, this kind of Brit male contingent is sprung up with like Richard from Longman Tarot and Chris from Elemental Cartomancy.
Yeah.
And then yourself and Govinda in the last fortnight, it's like, well, we've got 2 new channels and they're Brit boys. So
I know.
it's been great.
Big up the Brit boys.
Oh, and Govinda says Zen has an online shop as well. That's the shop was on about.
Okay, I'll have to check that
Birmingham.
out.
So you talked about having a spiritual need met. So would you class yourself as a spiritual person? And if
Yes.
so, what does your spiritual practice kind of look like?
Like my path kind of thing.
Yeah.
You see, I've always battled with this because, like when you do your job application forms and they ask you what your religion is and stuff like that, I always used to put like Christianity, but I feel like it's New Age, I suppose, because I feel like I'm on my own path. I don't subscribe to any other path. I'm just going along and enjoying the journey as I go and see what happens along the way and what resonates with me. But I think being brought up, you were kind of, like with tarot cards, it was seen as like, oh, don't mess with that kind of stuff. No. But it just didn't resonate. It didn't feel, I was like, yeah, I do want to mess with that kind of stuff. But I read a book I've got here, which really changed how I thought about things, and it's called Conversations with God. I don't know if
Oh
anybody's heard of
yes,
that.
yeah,
Now, my friend introduced me to this, and I was like, "Oh, it sounds religious. I'm not really into religious stuff." And she was like, "No, read it. It's a different take on things," and that resonated with me wholeheartedly about things, about following your own path and being who you are, and not trying to be anybody else.
yeah. I think it must be at least 10 years since I've read that book. I think it's still on my bookcase.
He's got
Um,
four out now. He's done quite a few books, I think.
I
So
say I've got two. I think there was another one like either further conversations with God or more
yeah,
conversations with God, something like
yes,
that. But yeah, it's a really really good read. And
mm,
like you, it was recommended to a friend. I did a crystal healing course, and it was a friend who recommended it. And I was coming out of fundamental Christian background. I was like, oh, I think that's the last book I want to read. And they
yeah,
were like,
yeah.
no, read it because you'll be really,
I was
really
exactly the
surprised.
same. So I think it's God's title, isn't it? You think of like the biblical things of it, but yeah, that book resonated with me. But I
Yeah.
love anything. I mean, like before tarot cards, I was interested in reading or bit confident, but I don't know. I just find that other world fascinating. I
Yeah.
feel connected to it in some weird way. And
Yeah.
like when people, because my nan died recently,
Oh, sorry.
but I don't feel like she's dead. I feel like she's still there. If you know what I mean, I don't think of people as dead when they pass on.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah. I get what you mean. I used to. That's kind of altered a lot in my life. So my dad died when I was a teenager, and because I was kind of surrounded by a religious belief, I very much had that view. And then when I came out and I was the whole hole in the soul business, and trying to find something, there was another bereavement in my family, and I took it really hard because I didn't know what I believed in, and I didn't
mm,
know whether, you know, there was an afterlife, and then
mm,
I was quite down about it, thinking,
yeah.
what if this
Don't you
is
find though,
it?
Simon, you go through times in your life where you question everything, don't you?
Yes.
And you question your beliefs, and it's almost like you go into a bit of a dark space. But I think it's a good place to go to heal again and find out who
Yeah.
you are and your path.
Yeah, and Evelyn says the body is gone, but the soul goes on forever.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I believe that.
Yeah, it's like a glove, isn't it? The body is
Mm,
the glove, and you take the glove off, which is the body, and it's gone. But
yeah,
the essence, the soul, however you want to deem it,
mm,
is still there. And I do believe that we are energy, and energy can never be completely extinguished. It just
yeah,
transforms, and it becomes something else. So
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Um, so over the last week, I was gonna say recently you did a video, but it's going to be recent because it's only been
A couple
seven
of days
days.
ago.
So you showed your tarot collection,
Yes.
and it was so impressive. And that
Oh,
I think that
thank
was the
you.
first moment where I thought, well, okay, Ben must be new, but he must have been a part of this community for a long time because.
Look, I'm blaming you for this because I loved all your decks, and I was like, I've got to have that one. I've got to have that one.
I
But
looked
no,
at, and that's probably why we've got so many of the same decks.
yes,
I
yes.
was like, if I was typing a response out to in the comments to your video, it would have been really long. Because it'd been like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got that deck. Oh, I love that deck. And I thought, no, scale it back.
But Simon, I love the artwork of the cards, and sometimes I know this sounds crazy, but I buy the cards just for the artwork and I don't sometimes use it, but I just love the artwork. It is like a book library, isn't it? Like you just,
Yeah, absolutely. And I was trying to say this to somebody again. There's that whole sort of why do you need so many decks? You're actually buying artwork as well.
yeah,
That's what you're
totally
buying.
agree.
And there are people in the community who don't read cards, but they love to buy them because they appreciate the artwork, and you're getting
Yeah,
78 pieces of art.
yeah.
So, would you say you've got a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? a specific aesthetic when it comes to the art of the tarot? Is there something in particular you are drawn to that you know you like, and therefore perhaps not any other kind of aesthetic?
It's changed, you know, as the years have gone on. Because when I first started out, I really liked like medieval decks, kind of darker decks, I suppose. Is it the medieval Scampini one?
Scapini, yeah.
Skipping that one. I really liked that one. I can't read with it. I just don't get some of the images. But as I've got, it's weird because as I've got older, I probably like more. I like retro decks. I love the Morgan Greer deck, and I want to get the Cosmic. Right? I thought I'd ordered it, but it hasn't come. So I'll check that out. Yeah, I like retro stuff, but I like the one that I reviewed yesterday, actually, at the end of the rainbow. And I like
I've never
Happy Deck.
seen that before.
No, it came up on Amazon, and I thought, oh, that looks quite nice. But I do like Happy Deck. Like, you know, if you're having a bad day and just think, oh, I just need a Happy Deck to look at.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I like the Happy Tarot and things like that. But there's another part of me, though, that likes the darker decks as well. You know, it depends what mood you're in, I think, doesn't it?
Well, there's that 6-year-old self that went to the horror section of the video store. You know, there's that itch still to scratch when it comes to.
The closest I've got to those is that one from Tarot Collectibles, the Twisted Tarot Tales, because he did extra cards that you can buy. I mean, it's got Aliens, Ghostbusters,
Elvira.
Elvira.
Grab a tool and start banging.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't beat the Mistress of the Dark. She's great. I'm just looking at some of the comments. I'm a sucker for cute decks. People are saying, yes, Simon's costing me money too. And agreeing about the fact that, you know, you are collecting art. A few comments in support of that as well. So, in terms of systems, RWS all the way? I know you said you struggled
all the way.
Have you looked at Thoth yet, or?
Let's get on to Thoth.
I love this guy.
I saw a Thoth tarot deck back when I was 14. It was in Waterstone, and I don't know what it was, but it just scared me. I just felt strange around it. And I didn't know it was Aleister Crowley at that point. I don't know, it's just the images I find a little bit striking. But I have bought it because I thought, you've got to try this, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel a bit weird about it, and I don't know why. But I think it's probably because there's a lot of talk about Aleister Crowley, isn't there?
It could be. So it could be that mental association that you've
Well,
pulled with the deck.
At the same time, though, I find his, like, we end up watch documentaries on YouTube, I find him fascinating. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I have worked with Jafar. It's coming up.
It's coming up. And that's probably when you said, you know, you struggle with the Scapini, because that's kind of a hybrid, isn't it? It's like that kind of part scenic, part pip type deck. I mean, it's beautiful, like you say, beautiful artwork. And Pagan Otherworld, you know, is another one that, you know, is stunning. Probably one of the most beautiful tarot decks. But some people struggle because it's, you know, not fully illustrated, and it's kind of this hybrid between pip and illustration. But
can I ask, Simon, do you find with some decks, though, that when you read with them, they work better for you than some that you like, but they just don't read right for you?
Absolutely.
It's strange, isn't it?
And I also go through that period where I'll be completely obsessed with a deck. And what I used to do, and now I'm more fluid now. I don't put these kind of boundaries on myself, but I used to read with a deck, and I'd say I'm going to read with this for the whole month, and then next month I'm going to read with this deck. And I used to even do videos about, this is my deck for May, you know, and this is the one I'm going to be reading. And there was a deck, one that springs to mind is Japaridze. I don't know if you've seen the Japaridze tarot.
No.
And I absolutely loved it, and I read with it all month. And I just couldn't let go of it for the next month. So I read with it, and it became like, I was like, is this going to be my soul deck? Because it was just wouldn't let me go. And now I haven't read with it for about a year, and I pulled it out the other day, and I couldn't get anything from it. It was
No, I know. It's
it
weird,
was
isn't it?
like, I'm not really feeling it. I mean, I can read a
Mm.
card because I know kind of what the, you know, the card represents, but it was just jarring with me, and I was like, why did I love this deck so much? And
Yeah.
it almost felt like, and we do kind of, what's the word, anthropomorphisize our decks, but it was like it had fallen out with me. You know,
Yeah.
you've left me
Yeah.
for a year, and
Yeah.
it was the strangest feeling. I've never had that before, where one has been so, you know, instrumental in my
Mm.
spiritual practice and journey, and then to suddenly pull it out after time, and there's just nothing.
Well, I did one for my mum the other day, a reading, and I loved the deck, but I read for it, and I was like, I said, I'm sorry, love. I said, I don't understand the cards here. It was like, you know, I said, I don't get what I just couldn't think of anything. Nothing was happening, and yet I've bought. He says, where did he put it? Oh, I bought this the other day.
Oh, the
It
old path.
reads the old path.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how well this works for me, Simon. It's amazing. I've had the best readings with that
Have
than
you?
any other deck at the moment. Yeah, it's
Oh,
strange, isn't it?
yeah, it is. That deck was gifted to me by Brian Cormac Carr, and it's my version. It's in an old. Do you remember? I can't grab it now. It's further back, but do you remember the old VHS cassettes
Yes.
in those plastic?
Yeah.
It's in one of them. It's
Oh my
it's
God.
Tarot of the Old Path, and it's in this plastic kind of VHS video cassette case. It's brilliant. But yeah, it's a great deck. Yeah, really, really
The
good.
old VHS, eh?
Yeah, top loaders.
Yeah.
So, what's top of your wish list currently? What deck is just out of your reach?
There's loads. So I found Baba Studios, but I'm too late to the party. They're not doing tarot decks, are they? Coming
I
up, is
think
that right?
they're going to be doing the Baroque Bohemian Cats.
Yeah.
I think I know. No, I think they've already done that. I was going to say they're re-releasing a third release of Victorian Romantic, but I think they've done that. I don't know if there's still any left, but I think after Baroque Bohemian Cats, I think that's their last one.
Yeah. So I've seen loads of theirs that I like, but on eBay they go for so much, don't they?
Yeah.
But the other one, it's a deck. It's in it. I think it's called the Hesycho's deck tarot. It's
Oh,
got like
Hesychos.
that's
Yeah.
it, that one. And I was literally when I just got into tarot again, I missed the boat with that one, and you can't get it now. And I keep looking for it. I've got it on the eBay fingers, like it does come up. Yeah.
Yeah. I got it as a 50th birthday gift last year
Oh wow.
because it was out of print, and like you, it was one that I always wanted but never thought
Yeah.
I'd get, and then to
Yeah.
get it as a gift, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So
I like the Last Unicorn deck as well, which I've seen on Etsy. Don't know if you've seen that one. I think it's based on some film, but beautiful images.
is it? I'll have to look it up. Well, I say that I'll have to look it up, but then I sometimes think no, there's just so many on my wish list
I know.
already.
The new ones come in there, and they've just replaced the old ones there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think in the last 5 years, I don't think I've ever had an empty wish list because there's always something on there, isn't there? And then what deck do you, other than Dynasty, what deck do you wish existed that doesn't? What would be your favourite deck if you could create it or have somebody create it for you?
Simon, it's got to be 80s, something 80s related, because I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Angela Lansbury, something to do with her. Murder, She
Murder,
Wrote.
She Wrote.
Definitely.
Bedknobs and I think Bedknobs and Broomsticks actually was late 70s.
Yeah.
I think
Or a
it
Bette
was-
Davis deck.
Ooh, Bette Davis.
Yeah. Maybe like Joan Crawford and Bette Davis.
Yeah.
Kind
I mean,
of.
she's in the Hollywood Tarot, I
Oh,
believe.
is she?
I think so. I've got the Hollywood Tarot. I've not looked at it for a while, but I'm sure Bette Davis is in there. Oh, can you imagine whatever happened to Baby Jane as a tarot?
Yeah. Baby Jane Hudson.
I sent a letter to Daddy. Oh gosh, we could have so much fun creating tarot decks. Spice Girls wannabe deck. TP
Oh
says,
yes, love Spice Girls.
and Govinda says, "Oh yeah, Murder She Wrote would be fab."
You know it, Govinda. Can't beat medicine.
Yeah. um. So when you choose a deck that you want to buy, do you have any kind of deal breakers? Is there anything you look out for? Like, is it card stock or certain cards have got to be done right?
It is card stock.
Is it?
The thickness of the card as well. I like, and I do like big cards just because I've got big hands. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not keen on the small ones so much. I'm a visual person. I like to see the image and that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the card stock and the thickness and the
Right.
smell. Who doesn't love the smell of the card?
I know.
Right, isn't
That
it?
it's such a sensory process though when you get a new deck. And everything about it, the kind of unwrapping it, the smells, the feel of it in your hand, especially if it's sorry about the sirens, especially if it's a really nice. Have you got any rose petal decks?
No.
Where haven't you with the rose petal finish on the cards?
Oh God, I bet that's nice.
Oh, it is. It is. It's not the best to shuffle, but my first time I ever held a rose petal deck, it was the True Black Tarot in my hand. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a complete game changer. Everybody's going to now produce. They've never ever nobody's ever made an RWS deck though in rose petal. I'm like, come on.
They need to do it, don't they?
They do, yeah. So, are there any particular cards that you're really drawn to? Do you have any favourites?
Favourite decks or card? Oh, cards.
Like a moon
yes,
card or
I do have a favourite card, and it's the Star.
the star.
Because when I was starting this tarot journey, that was the card that came into my head, and it was hope.
Oh.
And before I got involved with the community, that just kept popping into my head, and I felt hopeful about the start of this channel, my channel, I suppose. And I leaned on that card as well, the Star. And after like the Tower, that's been like destructive, you've got that hope. That's
Oh. So, do you believe in the concept of soul deck? And do you have a soul
Yeah.
deck?
I think I do. I think it's the Morgan Greer one because that's just followed me everywhere. I saw it on Jane Goldman Investigates, which was a show back in 2003. Do you remember that? Yeah, that's the one.
I've still got
Loved it.
I've still got it on my Virgin box.
I know. Do you know? I recorded it at the time on VHS because I think it was then, and I watched it over and over and over. And I saw the Morgan Greer one on that because she was with Michelle Knight, I think, that was teaching her how to do it. And I saw that deck, and straight away I wanted to get it, and it's just stayed with me ever since.
Yeah,
Michelle
uses the Morgan Greer, and Jane goes into this shop and she buys a gold gilded RWS, and that set me off. I was like, what? A gilded, and it went out of print, but I did manage to get the American version of it.
So it is a real one, because I wondered whether she did that now.
No, it was a real one. She took it off the shelf, and I kept freezing and moving it frame by frame to have a look at what it was called and everything. A bit like when you showed your video yesterday at the end of the rainbow. I freezed that because as you turn the book over, I freezed it and I seen that it said 2021. I was like, that's why I don't know this deck.
Yeah.
It's a new deck.
I don't think many people have heard of that one,
No, I certainly hadn't. But yeah, so I love that program, and I can't delete it. I can't delete it off my Virgin box. It's still there, and every so often.
And isn't her hair amazing on that? I mean, red hair.
She is amazing though. I like her. The Celebrity Goggle Box is on at the moment, and Jonathan Ross and the kids are there, and she's not part of it. And I'm like, where's Jane?
I couldn't believe it when I found out she was married to Jonathan Ross. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I think she was only 16 when she met him.
Yeah.
I remember.
Very young.
Yeah. So you'd say Morgan Greer then is your soul deck?
I think so.
Yeah. And to hear you talk about it on your channel, I kind of suspected you might go with Morgan Greer, but yeah. So that probably means further down the line, you'll probably try and get all different types of Morgan Greer decks. So just be
Oh,
careful. Just be a warning, because there is one that came with a black border that's like the Holy Grail. It's hard to get. There's different card stocks. There's different coloration.
I know. This is it. And you find the old ones though, don't you? Are thicker. I don't know what it is. The older versions seem thicker than the newer ones that they bring out. I don't know if that's just me.
I think TP is really late in the chat because they've just typed, "I've written a letter to Daddy. His address is heaven above." I'm like, I think that's about 10 minutes back. You'll catch up in a bit. So what about tarot books? Do you have many tarot books? Do you like tarot books or?
Yeah, I bought a book by Liz Dean, is it? Which is the Spreads one, and there's another one which tells you about it. But I do like reading books, but I went online and did a course on Udemy about tarot. And that was, I find like when someone's talking to you about it, it kind of sinks in better. But at the same time, I do think tarot, you can use it intuitively. You don't have to go by what the book says. It's what it means. And I think the cards get used to you as well. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
And I bought the soft book, Simon, but I only got about 4 pages in. Forget it. Can't do it.
My thought set, it was the like a limited edition one that had gilding and everything on it, and it came in a set with the book, but I've not read it. So Caroline says the Tarot of the Abyss is becoming her soul deck. That still hasn't become available in the UK. It was 1st of July on things like Book Depository and Amazon, and as soon as 1st of July came, it went to unavailable, as it often does. So we still can't get Tarot of the Abyss over here, sadly, but I do want it because Arnatorian is amazing.
I hate it when they go out of stock.
Yeah, even before they've got them, it's like, what's that all about? So, are you a reader anyway? What's your all-time favourite book, even if it's not tarot related?
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at my books now. Bear with, hang on. Just looking your back there again. I like trick haunting books.
Which one? Do you want to show it? Oh, I put the wrong one on. Let me.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Did we lose sound or?
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, that's one of my favourites.
Is it? So what's that about?
It's a true story about how you move to a house in America. I just find it fascinating because it's so true. It's just about like something that happens. Anything kind of real. I'm fascinated by it. But I think my favourite book definitely Conversations with God.
Oh wow! I'm gonna have to read that again.
Fascinating. Really, yeah.
I can remember it was an enjoyable read, but I can't remember much about it now, so I'll probably have to revisit that. So, as a relatively, or certainly a tarot tuber newbie, any advice for anybody who might be watching this in a situation like you were before last week, where you're thinking of starting a channel? Any kind of tips for somebody that's just starting?
Yeah, just do it. You think about it much, but you know what? Just go ahead and do it. First video is always nerve-wracking, but once you're in it, fab. And the people say well.
Yeah. Okay. I've just had a message now from Jackie saying echo is worse. Has a headset come out?
Bear with.
Okay. And And don't forget, whilst Ben's doing that, if you've got any questions you want to add, please pop them in capitals. I mean, it's hard for me to say if it's better or not, because I could just hear you perfectly well. It's like looking at that and I'm thinking, what are they going on about? It's crystal clear.
It's the influence of Barbara. It's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, so your advice would just be just to go for it. And,
It's the best thing I've ever done.
Oh, that's brilliant. So what would you say the tarot has taught you most about yourself?
To be myself and to go with my instincts.
Yeah,
that's what it's taught me.
And that's really amazing, considering that you said earlier that, you know, for a good part of your life you never felt that you could be yourself, you know. So for the tarot to have that influence, for you to finally, you know, feel like you can be yourself, then who can ask for more, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's so important to be yourself.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. So, with that in mind, if you could go back to your 16-year-old self and have a conversation, knowing everything that you know now, what sort of things would you say?
I would say be who you are. Don't try and be anybody else. And listen to what's in your heart, because that will always get down the right.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That's really nice. That's really nice. And then the dinner date question. So your ideal dinner, you're throwing a dinner party. You can invite 3 people to your dinner party, alive or dead. Who would they be and why?
You think I'm going to say Jane Collins?
You better say Joe Collins.
Second. But Bet Davis is the person, yeah.
Bet Davis. She'd be your number 1.
Yeah.
And then
a bit of bet. Angela Lansbury and Sylvester Stallone.
Really?
I love his films.
Wow. That would be some dinner party.
I know, wouldn't it?
So we've got, where are we? Janet Jackson, Lorraine, I don't know, Laureen or Biffco, but got some interesting ones there.
The Echoes sound bad.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what.
Better.
Okay. People said last time you took your earphones out that it was worse, so I'm not sure. We'll just have to see. See, there's always a 20-second delay as well between on StreamYard between us broadcasting and then people hearing us. So there's a 20-second. So yeah, Siobhan said not yet. So I don't think it's making any difference whether it's the earphones or not. So. All right. So, do you want to tell us your current tarot crush? Perhaps show us a few of the cards.
Wow. It's got to be one.
I'm going to put you on full screen. I'm going to shuffle a deck so that I can pull a card at the end. So let's put you on full screen.
So this is you. Harris of the Alpha. It's not got many borders, but they've worked really well with me. And I keep thinking cards are keeping so right and more. I didn't call it originally. I put it on it because it's been the best one really. Kind of used. But I like the white and you know. Yeah, I love the
colours are really nice.
Yeah, I like the colours as well. The back's actually like that.
Yeah.
It just fits so well.
Yeah.
I'm quite just surprised at how well they read.
Yeah, they're very kind of subtle colours, aren't they? You know, they're not garish or anything like that. They're quite nice. So let's Janet Jackson, Madonna, and Cher. Definitely Madonna. I'd have Madonna at mine.
Oh, I like Cher.
All right. So message for us. Oh, we have the King of Wands. King of Wands. And this is from Pam's Old Deck by Conrad Stein. I'm trying to get it where there's no shine on it. So the King of Wands reminds us really that, you know, we've learned from any of our previous mistakes. And we're ready to move on in a new direction. But for me, whenever I pull the King of Wands, it's saying that actually, because you've learnt from your old mistakes and the lessons, then you've got some new abilities to take forward. But if you're going to move forward, you've got to have that self-belief. So I guess the message for everybody is, you know, forget what's happened in the past, forget mistakes. All they've done, you know, is taught you a lesson, probably made you a little bit stronger. Be bold. You know, now is your chance to go forward, but go forward having that self-belief that you can achieve what it is you want to do. I suppose you've got to be willing to take some risks as well, you know, because journeys forward aren't always easy. You know, there's going to be stumbling blocks, and as having the self-belief will get you there, and having confidence, particularly newfound confidence, which I'm thinking is a message that we can take, you know. Don't dwell on the mistakes of the past. Go forward, self-belief, new confidence, be bold, but also be willing to perhaps have to change your plan as you go forward and adapt to what's being brought up for you is during that kind of as you're moving your way towards the end goal that you want. Fab. Shall we finish by playing paper and plastic?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so
Is the audio ready? I took these out.
It's fine for me. Nobody's saying anything now. TP says Ben's got one new subscriber, so you've got a subscriber there from. All right, so and Jackie's just put a link into the channel.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. They're still saying it's a little bit echoey, but let's do paper plastic. So, first response without thinking too much. Paper or plastic?
Paper.
Oracle or tarot?
Tarot.
YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube.
Peanut butter or jam?
Jam.
Big parties or small gatherings?
Small gatherings.
Wait or Crowley?
Oh, wait.
I knew that one. Bath or shower?
Ooh. Shower. Quick.
Bordered or borderless?
Less.
Dark and creepy or rainbows and unicorns?
Rainbows and unicorns.
Indie or mass produced?
Indie.
Tablet or PC?
PC.
Save or spend?
Spend.
Money or free time?
Free time.
Phone calls or FaceTime? Movies at home or in the cinema?
At home.
Large or small cards?
Large.
Life after death or total extinction?
Definitely life after.
Early bird or night owl?
Or night owl.
Woodland forest or sandy beaches?
Woodland forest.
Toilet roll hanging over or under?
Always different. I think it's under.
Yes! Oh, I kind of hope for that. Being as we've got so much in common and everything that we've been talking about, I'm like, And if he then turns around and says he likes his toilet roll over.
It's got to be.
Yeah, of course it does. It
Can't
makes
get
sense.
it.
It's neat and it's tidy.
I agree.
Ben, thank you for spending the last hour with me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you enjoyed your first live experience.
It's wonderful, Simon.
Yeah, and if there's been some issues with sound, I still think people have been able to hear you because they've been responding to things that you've been saying. But there's not a lot we can do about it really, other than try the things that we've tried. But for me, it's been brilliant because I was able to hear you crystal clear all the way through. And maybe when people watch it on playback, maybe they'll hear what I hear. So we can hope for that as well. So thank you for spending time with me today. Good luck with your channel. I don't think you'll need it. I think you're a natural. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where you take it and the journey that you go on with the tarot. I think you're going to be around for a very long time. So.
And I just want to say thank you all for being so welcoming. Means a lot.
Yeah, they're a good bunch, aren't they?
Oh, they're wonderful.
So if you stay on at the end, I'll just have a couple of minutes with you. Yeah. Thank you everybody for being here today, for supporting. Please do check out Ben's channel. The link has been posted a few times in the chat, but if you have missed it, it is in the description below. And have a look at what he's created already in the last week. I'm sure you'll enjoy the content. And I'll be back next Saturday for a regular cup of catch up in cards. And then in 2 weeks, I'll be doing an interview with Govinda from Gypsy Heart Tarot. So I'm looking forward to seeing you over the next couple of weeks as well. So thank you everyone for being here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all next time. As usual, look after yourselves. Go in peace.
Bye everyone.
And blessed be. Bye everyone.